Hey, this is Cameron Parker. You're listening to the Unbelievers podcast.
There were several groups. One of the principal ones was the reptilians from the Orion complex.
Without any exaggeration, it was like being on fire inside.
Rats were eating you inside.
This stuff was in my mouth. It felt like it was 500 degrees. It was unbelievably hot.
My first question would be, were you a member of the Church of Satan, a card-carrying member of the Church of Satan?
I don't understand.
There's always an argument for everything, you know? Just because somebody can fake something doesn't necessarily mean it's
and we found a life form. And that's when I started shitting my pants.
So for the person who called, I am carrying an alien.
An alien baby. We covered right here, okay?
Okay.
Something is happening. What is it? That's the question. So do UFOs exist? It depends on what you mean exist.
Coast to Coast AM, the overnight paranormal radio show created and hosted by broadcasting legend Art Bell, who upon his retirement in 2003 was replaced by a man named George Noory, aka the Nighthawk. Noory was an already established St. Louis broadcaster, and after taking over the reins of Coast to Coast from Mr. Bell, he has never left. Tonight, the Unbelievers podcast holds the opposite of a tribute as we investigate the current state of the largest paranormal radio program in the world. To find out what's really going on with George Noory. Is he an international hero or a goat? So hold on to Billy Gibbons' beard and put on your scrambled eggs. It's time for the George Noory Extravaganza. Right here on the program, we continue to learn to unlearn everything you know. Hello and welcome to the Unbelievers podcast. I'm your host, Rus Ryan, and joining me as always is my co-host, Drea Mora. Hello, Drea.
Hey, what's up?
And our soundboard engineer and producer, Rob Okey.
Do you eat roadkill?
Yeah, anyway.
You do?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
What's up?
Hello, Rob. Hello, Drea. It's great to be back. And yeah, great clip play there because I think it's time we talked about this guy a little bit or a little more in depth than usual.
Oh, you're talking about the voice of Coast to Coast, of course. The only voice of Coast to Coast that people probably, oh no, I'm joking. Most people know Art Bell, but the second most popular, I guess, voice of Coast to Coast, right?
Senor Noory.
Yeah, that's right. I feel like it's a subject we touch on a lot, but we need to talk about a little more. And man, I'm very excited for this. So let's just get into it now. It's time for the George Noory Extravaganza.
Love me with all of your heart. That's all I want, love. Love me with all of your heart, or not at all.
Not at all. The voice of an angel. That was Love Me With All Your Heart by Engelbert Humperdinck and sung by the subject of tonight's episode, current Coast to Coast AM host, Mr. George Noory. Oh. And being host of Coast to Coast, that is a position that he has held since 2003 when legendary original host Art Bell retired. That's hard to believe. Noory, he has been the man at Coast to Coast for 18 years now. Gosh.
That is a really long time. I'm honestly surprised. Because, I mean, the reaction, there were really big shoes to fill, but he's still trying to.
He's still trying to get that footing.
He's still out there. I'm surprised. I thought it was David Bowie that was singing that for a second. That was beautiful, man. I always forget that he's got that voice on him, but I mean, I should know. Of course, he's on the radio every single day, but I forgot he can sing like that, or that he tries to sing like that.
He tries to sing like that. He
sings like that.
But he does it. And
he does. He's got a talent for sure.
Many talents, as we'll find out. And every year we like to celebrate our hero Art Bell with a tribute episode, usually on his birthday. I really enjoy those episodes, but poor old George Noory, I feel he doesn't really get that much attention from us. I mean, he comes up really infrequently. The last time he got kind of a brief mention. Remember when we did the Tom Biscardi episode and he said this?
An international hero or a goat.
A goat.
A goat.
Goat.
Yeah, he's the one who kind of gave Tom Biscardi his platform to launch his scam website. And somehow George Noory got caught up in that shit. But I think in the end, he managed to sort of make it out looking pretty good, being like, come on, man, what is this bullshit?
It was pretty tough.
Don't pull this on my listeners, kind of is what it ended up turning into.
He tried to scold him about it. I'm glad he did, but it just imagine how much more of a spanking he would have gotten if it was Art Bell.
He went from being an enabler in the situation to being the hero in the end, sort of, to like defending his listeners, which I don't know.
Like, no, don't you blame my listeners for falling for your scam.
He handled
that
it well.
angle, right?
Yeah, I think it was all about taking the listeners' money, but he handled that well. And you guys might be wondering what spurred this newfound fascination with George Noory, my old friend that I've actually called a few times.
That's true.
Even for this show.
Forgot you
spoken with him a few times. I've been listening to some recent Coast to Coast episodes because I was curious. What the heck has been going on with this show? Are you guys at all curious about the current state of Coast to Coast?
Honestly, no, I don't think about it much anymore. But yeah, for the sake of the show, yes.
I am a little bit curious. I used to subscribe to the little podcast version of the show of Coast to Coast, where they would kind of cut down some highlights and drop it in your podcast feed. But I haven't listened to that.
That's gone.
That sounds a little bit more digestible.
That must not exist anymore. But I did used to enjoy those because it would kind of.
I fell off.
I could sort of keep up with what they were talking about, but it feels like it's headed down more of like a political route in the past year and a half, 2 years.
It's all over the place. And you guys, now I'm going to let you find out without having to listen to 4 hours of overnight radio. That is a lot of commercials too, because I have a bunch of stuff to play tonight. And let's start off with a very recent episode. This is from July 28th, just a few days ago, when George welcomed his third-hour guest, Erica Buenaflor, and the topic is animals and their incredible healing properties. Here's the introduction to this dynamite guest.
MA degree, JD degree, has been a lawyer, has more than 20 years of practicing curandera, if that's the way we pronounce it correctly, studying Mesoamerican. She's got a master's degree in religious studies with a focus on shamanism. And after healing from a catastrophic injury, we'll ask her about that, she fully embraced her gifts of healing, eventually left her career as a lawyer, and now spends all her time doing what she enjoys. One of her books is called Animal Medicine. Erica, welcome to the program.
Thank you, George. Thank you.
Looking forward to this. Curandera, did I pronounce that right? How do you pronounce that?
Not even close. Curanderismo. Curanderismo.
What does that mean?
Is the practice of healing. It's the Latin American shamanic healing practice.
And how do animals come into this?
Animals? Well, it's a book that I wrote.
But how do animals heal?
How do animals heal?
Oh, my God.
Great start, both of them, man. I've never heard radio like this. It's like they're trying to do like an avant-garde interview. It made me kind of uncomfortable.
Almost like Space Ghost Coast to Coast, how they would record an interview, but then slice it up and then have them answering different questions than what they originally were answering. It's just like they make it a mess, but on purpose. This is just a train wreck.
This is crazy. Play soundboard 1, because George just stumbles out of the gate with this mispronunciation.
Curandera, if that's the way we pronounce it correctly.
Curandera?
Yeah, no. And play soundboard 2, because I don't think Erica did much better with this.
Curanderismo. Curanderismo.
What does that mean?
She put a cuckoo in the middle of that. She's like, curandera?
I think she was trying to do she was trying to guide him through the pronunciation, like do.
Oh, like
do. Curanderismo.
What does that
say
mean?
And then say 3 other syllables really fast.
Curanderismo. Curanderismo. Like that's kind of what she did, right?
Yeah, I think she tried to get him to follow along the first syllable, and then he didn't. So she just went on with it.
Curanderismo.
What does that mean?
We don't know either, but let's see if they can pull out of this nosedive of a radio appearance.
Well, are you asking, and I'm assuming that you're going to ask in the context of curanderismo, like what inspired me to write the book?
Well, we'll get to that.
How do animals heal? Well, there's different ways that they heal. That's a pretty broad question. That all animals heal very differently.
But in what context? Do you have to keep them as pets that they heal you that way? What do they do?
in terms of the person healing with the animal.
The animal heals the person, or the person heals with the animal?
Oh, my God.
All of the above.
Huh.
Yeah.
I usually take out these long pauses, but in that, I had to leave that to show how awkward this was.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that this is actual radio.
This is one of the most awkward radio interviews I think I've ever heard. And I think he's not asking that complicated of questions.
He's asking the most basic questions you ask a guest. Like, so you wrote a book about animal healing, but I don't know. I don't know if she didn't know this was supposed to be an interview. Is this a cold call? What's going on?
Acting like she's never been asked any questions before ever in her life about
It's almost
anything.
it's almost like she's not the one who wrote this at all. She's just like, oh crap, I didn't think that they were going to ask me about it. I thought it was just, show up.
She's looking on the guest chart. Wait, what am I here for? I thought I was the skin cactus person. Oh, wait, Coranderismo? Oh yeah, it's Cuckoo. Dorismo, yes.
Curanderismo. Cuckoo? Randerismo.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? That's, you know what? What does that mean?
It means healing. Like literally,
it means like animal healing spirits.
I do like how she got a little bit offended. She was like, "That's really a broad question." Well, it's like you haven't even answered it at all, though.
Yeah, like you're on an interview. You should have something kind of prepared. Like, how do you explain to somebody off the street what it is you do? It's like you said, it's like she's never been asked this ever. What did you expect coming onto this show?
Or she thinks that George read her book, which clearly he does not. I don't think he just read her name probably for the first time. And she's like, well, what do you mean? Didn't you read my entire book about this?
Yeah. Or like when people don't want to give away anything, like, well, you have to read the book to find out. So she's just like hesitant to say anything about it, which is dumb.
Well, I feel like
she realizes it too, and it does actually go on. What do you say, Rob?
I feel like I could have answered the question better than she probably could have, and she's an expert in this. I would have just said they heal you by making you feel comfortable. They lower
with
your
their
heart
energy.
rate.
They de-stress.
They naturally help you, and they're just.
You keep them as pets, though. Wait,
I mean, technically yes. Technically yes. You do need to have them
no,
as a
George,
pet.
you don't go to a doctor's office and they have like the dog that's in a lab coat that you go and see and he heals you. That's not.
That is what George pictures, I think. He's picturing that in his mind. He's like,
how do they heal you, though?
How does he hold the stethoscope?
How do they heal you? Well, I mean, a lot of ways. Let's get to it.
He finds out.
One. Yeah.
We're going to find out, too. Here, George asks a question that I'm sure we were all wondering. What is up with these animal guides?
Now, tell us about these animal guides. What are they?
The animal guides, there were different beliefs in terms of what could be a guide, and there was something that was called an animal coessence, right? So on the day that we're born, we have a certain, what's called bonali, a soul energy. It's a signature. On the day that we're born, there's certain animals that may share, an animal that may share that soul, that signature with you. It shares your soul energy. Something happens to that animal, something can happen to you. And then there's animal guides that we may court, or they may court us to start working with us. And they can bring messages to us. They can come through our dreams. They can come through meditations. They can come through journeys. They can come in the physical sense as well and give us medicine in the sense of giving us understanding of what's going on, letting us know, giving us a message, and also like warnings too.
Do you have to? Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, you go.
You go ahead. No, you go.
No, you hang up first.
You go.
Now, apologies for how boring that is, but tell me if I have this right, Drea. When we're born, we have a soul energy, but animals do too. And the animal we share that with, he's like our buddy who tells us what we're doing sometimes, or we can just pick any random animal, and maybe that's our soulmate instead. And why does this sound like it's being made up on the spot?
Yeah, she's definitely not clear on which one it is she thinks it is. I know what she's saying is like, and I think, the general thing where it can come to you in a dream, it can come to you in real life, but it's like a lot of it definitely, it's like, well, you just imagine it. It's just your favorite animal when you're a kid.
I mean, we've all seen Power Rangers. We know how that works.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of similar.
It's that whole spirit animal concept where like if you have like a repeating symbol or something like, oh, I keep on seeing this hummingbird at the same time every day or something like that, like that there might be some kind of spiritual connection to it. I think is the base of it.
Yeah, I you know what? I like the concept.
You could pick any animal, a hummingbird, anything.
If you feel, which is why it is so broad and vague how she's describing it, it sounds like, yeah, if you just have an affinity towards an animal, that must be the special one that was born on the same day as you. I've never heard of that. But
and even as this thing is starting to get traction, the way they're talking, play soundboard 3, they cannot get out of each other's way.
Do you have to? Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Oh, that's kind of cute how they're stepping on each other's words. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it's adorable.
It does sound like they're starting to get a flow. Now they're just battling for mic time instead of leaving like 30-second pauses between. But that doesn't last with this question. Now with even more long pauses.
What kind of animals generally are pretty good for this?
All animals.
All of them? Really? Even snakes?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't like snakes.
Well, then it's not your animal, George.
What about dogs and cats? Are they a little more receptive?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
they're all animals. All animals can come to you.
And have you ever seen a situation where someone is miraculously healed or changed because of an animal situation?
No.
Oh my God.
George is just nodding out, it sounds like. He is totally checked out of this. This woman is giving him nothing, too.
Yeah, like I generally, his style of interviewing just from the very beginning like that, that's what made me wonder, like, well, how is he still doing this? But then it's people like her that definitely, he's not really fully to blame. For
No,
this
not at all. But it's a total snooze. And after this, Erica goes into a very boring story about how one of her clients needed help with an insurance settlement. So she had her client commune with an owl, and then the owl calls the client's lawyer. The client's lawyer got a settlement done. I started to check out on this, too. So I can relate to George here on this one.
Owls are good at that.
Yes, owls
lawyers. Owl lawyers, they're very good at bird law. Owl.
They expedited the process for this It was literally a story about insurance and a spirit owl. And
I do love George Noory making that little Indiana Jones comment there. He had to throw that out there. It's like you making Star Wars jokes.
Trying to do something.
He's got to make
anything.
I don't like snakes.
I thought he was going to keep going. He was going to be like, well, what about lizards? Well, what about porcupines?
He could have probably
kept about blowfish. Like just all animals.
I'm not scared of any of that.
Because whose spirit animal is a mosquito?
Right?
Well, here's the very tail end of that story, right before they go to their first commercial break.
Becoming more accepting and broad in her practice and scope. So she's a very different person when she first came.
Erica's website, of course, is linked up at coasttocoastam.com. Her latest work that we're talking about is Animal Medicine, and you could find all her works on her website, realizeyourbliss.com. As I mentioned, we've got it linked up there for you at coasttocoastam.com. We'll be back in a moment right here on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back to Coast to Coast. George Noory with you. Heidi Hollis back with us. Heidi, of course, has the podcast Dark Becomes Light on the Paranormal Podcast Network. And Heidi, I think you're into, 31 shows already?
Yeah, you're right on it. Exactly.
That's
fantastic. I'm having a blast. I really enjoy it.
Heidi Hollis? I think he just ditched his guest mid-interview. Like, he went to the break, they come back, he's like, all right, still here. We're here, still here with Heidi Hollis of the podcast. How's it going, Holly? No, we never got to find out.
Still here, you're right.
We never found out about the traumatic injury or whatever the other lady was talking about before.
She's just gone?
Just gone.
It did sound a little bit like he was wrapping up by saying, and her website, of course, is blah, 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 doing her plugs and stuff.
He didn't say goodbye. He didn't let her say no. It made it sound like she'll be right back. He was just sticking a plug in. I'll be honest, Holly was way more interesting. She was talking about the Hat Man, which actually might be a fun topic for us.
Yes.
But we never find out about the catastrophic injury that led to her animal healing. And guess we'll never know. Erica is gone.
How do animals heal? She never answered the initial question, I don't think.
She never really got
to the thing.
George must have these like bullpen guests that are just ready to go on a spot. I know this lady, Holly, Heidi Hollis, she has she's got one of the podcasts on his paranormal network that PP Warren's on. So PP must be ready for that call at any time. Like if a guest is just too bad, just come on.
It's literally called the PPN, the Paranormal Podcast Network.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hearing all those clips, I got to ask, Drea, who was the problem there? You think it was George, who knew nothing about this guest, or Erica, who assumed that George knew like what she was all about?
No, it's definitely Erica's fault, because I feel like even if he did know some stuff about it, she was still like not very forthcoming with any responses or anything. She, like you said, she had nothing for him, just sandbagged him like
kind
silence.
of a draw.
No.
I feel like there was a conversation that went down between him and the producer. They were like, what do we do? This she's a real snoozer. She's barely answering these questions. How do we handle this? And they were just like, just move along. Just move along. We'll take care of it off the air. And
jettisoned into space.
I'm pretty sure they were like, we'll plug it on the website. We'll take care of you. We'll reach out to you about coming on someday again.
Whoa, what about the injury? What about I got more great animal law stories for you.
I'm glad I missed the rest of that story, because holy crap.
We really got to get Heidi on. So we're just going to have to keep it moving. We'll talk to you later, animal lady.
Yeah, it probably is on her. And George might not be at fault for that last one, but he has become notorious for not paying attention to his guests during the interviews. And a few months ago, he was interviewing a man named Greg Everett to discuss methods of cultivating toughness and resourcefulness. And that is not exactly paranormal, but whatever. Okay, coast to coast.
That's like Alex Jones-ish sounding.
But this is about being tough, though. Greg is a former weightlifter turned coach, and he's an expert on being tough. And here he is telling Noory about the horrible injury that ended his weightlifting career.
Mine was really just a freak accident. I had never had any shoulder issues, and it really came down to me making a bad decision and fighting to save a lift that I shouldn't have tried to save, and sounded like green tree branches tearing, and that arm was hanging halfway off, so it was a pretty extensive surgery after that one.
Super. Now tell us about your book, Tough. I love this. About the power of the mind, which can be applicable to anything, not just weightlifting.
George.
Yeah, absolutely.
George, gotta listen a little bit.
He has no bedside manner.
Gotta listen.
That's
like
just
no
super,
host
Greg. That's not at all horrific. It sounded like a tree branch snapping. I could see you both cringe
sexy.
when he
so
said
moving
that.
on.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah. Like I had a visceral reaction to that description, and then super. Well, that's
Super.
awesome.
Let's talk about the book.
He's not paying attention. He's looking at the script to see who's coming on next. Is probably what he's thinking. Like who's
thinking
the next
about which song
already.
he wants to sing in karaoke.
That was really bad.
I got more with this guy. This guest, Greg Everett, he is there to promote his book, Tough. And it's all about teaching you toughness and resourcefulness. So George asks him this hard-hitting question.
Can you teach toughness, or do you have to have it within your gut?
Well, if I didn't believe you could teach it, I wouldn't have written a book. So I absolutely believe you can teach it.
Oh, my bad.
Damn.
What kind of questions are these? I mean, I'm here with the author of Rods Are Totally Real. So, hey, what do you think, man? Rods, are they real? Be like, yes. I wrote the book on this. I wrote the book on teaching you to be tough.
Man.
Yeah, like learn how to do something. So do you think this can be taught or no? I'm still confused.
He threw an invitation out there with that question. He wanted him to be like, well, that's a good question, George. Because a lot of people think that, you have to be born with it. But instead it was like, no, it was like, what the fuck do you think, George? I wrote a book of like, what do you think my answer's going to be? He instantly came right at him. When George,
it'd be one thing if he didn't read a book or have a book.
I feel like George was just throwing him like a lob right there, a softball. You know what I mean? And
he wasn't having it. This is a tough guy. He knows that he's not going to get bumped for Heidi Hollis or anybody else. George would be way too scared of this guy. And I got kind of sucked or something into this interview about tough guys and how to be tough. Maybe I could learn to be a little tougher. One of the stories Mr. Everett told was about a guy whose fishing boat was overturned by a whale. And this guy was stranded on a raft at sea for 76 days. Now let's hear how tough that guy was.
76 days. So, and just the remarkable wrap-up to the story is that after those 76 days, he's finally found by these fishermen on their boat. And rather than, immediately jumping up onto that boat and being taken to land, he tells these guys, no, go ahead, do your fishing for the day. I'll wait. So he just waits for them to go about, their daily fishing. And so that to me just showed, how well he had managed to cope with that situation to the point where he was not desperate at that moment to get off the raft, as most of us would very likely be.
Super.
Yeah, super. I think that guy's brain got fried or something. He's delusional from drinking pee. After 76 days, if you're floating around in these whale-infested waters in the pitch black of the day and the night, I would have no problem inconveniencing some fishermen. It's like, I got to get... that's not being tough.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that. I agree. It's like, you probably are really dehydrated, so they probably have water on board. I'm sure they wouldn't mind rescuing a fellow human being and continuing to fish, like after they get you onto their boat. Like, that's just like, what's it like, martyrdom, kind of like, no, I can wait another day. I've waited 76 so far.
Yeah.
Or however many.
Like he's counting or something. Yeah, like he's got I want to pad a few more hours onto this potential record here.
Yeah, right. I'm so close to rounding up to like 80 or I forget however many days he was doing. And that's just being like too showing
tough
off. Yeah, like come on.
I mean, yeah, there's
Get
modesty. There's modesty and there's, not wanting to cause any trouble, but then there's also being stranded on a boat for 76 days, which at that point it's like call me a fucking water taxi or something. Like, I understand you guys came out here to fish, but I've been out here for 76 fucking days.
Yeah, just like accept some help, dude. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that guy wrote a book too and tours around talking about toughness, the boat guy. The guy was out there. But after the story, George starts listing off all the people and professions that he thinks are pretty tough. He talks about the military, police, firefighters. He even gives a shout out to retail employees on Black Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, for that one day,
those guys are the real heroes.
For that one day, they are tough. He even admits here that some women can also be tough.
Oh.
I think women who go to the hospital to have a baby are tough, aren't they?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it.
No, nor would I.
I've heard it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, high five, right, guys? You go, girls. But only if you go to the hospital. Home birth, not as tough.
Right? Like, no, if you're out in the woods or something, or if you're going into labor off the side of the road. No, he's asking, like you said, these really softball questions every now and then. It's like he has nothing interesting to ask these people.
No, he really just went through professions. It was like, what do you think about EMTs? Are they tough? He's like, yeah, they're probably pretty tough. They have to go out kind of late at night. He's like, all right, what about firefighters? This guy's tough. He's like, yeah.
It's like he's talking to a kid.
All these people are tough.
Like, ask me something with some meat to it. Well, I think women who give birth are tough, don't you? Like, of course.
Oh,
yeah, of course, dude.
Are the Hell's Angels tough? Yeah, well, you know what? Women are actually pretty tough, too.
Women are tough.
You know what?
Bikers are tough. Cowboys. What about cowboys? This guy's really tough. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
The team? No, it's all fluff. His interviews are just, there's no substance to them very much.
He is stating the obvious, though. Women are obviously much tougher than men because they do.
We know they're tough.
Give birth. They go to the hospitals and they give birth to babies.
Don't, but I'll take credit.
Well, they also, imagine if a man, this is probably like a completely recycled, reused joke a million times,
dude.
But men having to deal with some sort of a monthly,
cramps,
situation, I think we would just be the worst. Men would be way worse. We wouldn't be able to handle any of that shit. So
George wasn't going there. George keeps a clean show, man.
He was one step away from going there, though.
He wasn't going to go there. I know that for a fact.
Non-bloody show.
I have one more clip from this interview, and here George asked a question that might be associated with some maybe lingering childhood trauma.
Would you say that if you cry, you're not tough?
No, absolutely not. And I think that's unfortunately kind of a silly misrepresentation. And the great example I give is, I coach primarily women in the sport of weightlifting. I will have women bawling their eyes out in the gym, but absolutely refusing to quit. And so what I tell them is the same I tell anyone. Cry all you want. It doesn't make one bit of difference to me. What I'm not okay with you doing is giving up on whatever it is that is meaningful to you.
Okay, sure. Female weightlifters cry. What about late night radio host? I think that's what he was going for more than what he got.
Now, if you have something that's like liquid hot lava that scalds the little punching bag at the back of your throat and you don't die, are you tough?
That makes you pretty tough. And play soundboard 5 because Greg Everett, he gave a very sincere answer to that, which I'm going to clip now way out of context.
I will have women bawling their eyes out in the gym. What I tell them is the same I tell anyone. Cry all you want. It doesn't make one bit of difference to me.
Whoa, what a jerk, this guy.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody so proud to make women cry in my life.
Even if it was just that first few words. I have women bawling their eyes out.
Yeah, we got the bonus because and I don't care. I really don't care.
It doesn't make one difference to me.
What is he doing to them in the gym to make them cry too? I understand that he's probably a good coach and everything, but like, you really got to make everybody cry? That sounds like
he doesn't. It's out of context,
like
Rob.
Camp,
He's
yeah.
He's a nice weightlifting coach.
I like this guy.
I do too, and I think George did too. I think George might have picked this guest for a reason, because the last thing that anyone would associate George Noory with is being tough. And this is going to lead me to now a very classic, maybe the most classic story that George Noory ever told on Coast to Coast. We've talked about this on bonus episodes. We've watched the cartoon on live streams. We even include part of it in our introduction, but we have never played it on the show proper. It is finally time for the pizza roll incident.
Yay!
Well, let me tell you my story now. After I got off the air Monday night, I normally drop by a little convenience store on the way home. I pick up a whole wheat turkey sandwich, and I was hungry. I was starving. They didn't have any. So, rather than just go home empty, I said, you know what can I buy? So I bought these little pizza rolls, a little tiny box of them. Went home, microwaved them by the instructions, and I touched it, and it was very lukewarm, almost cold. So I picked one, and I bit into it, and I am telling you, it was the most scorching pizza stuff I have ever eaten. This stuff was in my mouth. It felt like it was 500 degrees. It was unbelievably hot.
Hey, he said it.
He said it.
That's the quote.
Cha-ching.
But I
Does
have to
anyone
add
get
to
royalties,
it.
or he does?
Play soundboard 6. We got to get this one too.
It was the most scorching pizza stuff I have ever eaten.
Pizza stuff.
Scorching pizza stuff is going to be in the poll results next week. You watch it. It's going to happen.
Man, we've all been there, though. We've all been there. Come on.
Yeah. Well, getting burnt in general, or just specifically with the pizza rolls?
Pizza rolls specifically.
Of course. I thought you also meant the late night needing food, stopping at a gas station.
Oh, that
that's
constantly.
Every single night for me, basically.
That's the weirdest. That's always been the weirdest part of the story to me, because I know George Noory makes a lot of money. He's on a nationally syndicated radio show with like 600 affiliates, and he's making ton. But why is he having to eat at the gas station every night? It's just that part never adds up to me. Like, it's a ritual.
I don't like leftovers. Leftovers are icky.
It's the middle of the night.
He's got to have a full fridge.
It's the middle of the night, guys. There's nothing open.
So you don't go to the grocery store ever, and you don't have stuff like stocked up?
I mean, sometimes, even the grocery store closes sometimes where I live, so I can kind of relate to George in this situation, And
I mean,
he's the
I
night
can see it
owl.
every now and then, but this sounds like it's like a daily occurrence. He's like, I got my usual turkey wheat sandwich.
No, it's a whole wheat turkey.
The whole wheat turkey. I'm sorry.
It's his sandwich. It's the specific sandwich. He eats it every single night. It's his favorite sandwich. And don't act like you're too good for a whole wheat turkey, Russ.
I'm not. I'm saying every single day. Oh, him.
Yeah,
every
Russ.
single day you're going to this gas station, though? Like, it is kind of
There's
nuts.
some good gas stations out there. There's some gas stations
7-Eleven's, what's up?
Yeah, 7-Eleven.
He's trying to get home quick, but he has scorching pizza stuff. It's in his mouth. It's 500 degrees.
It was the most scorching pizza stuff I have ever eaten.
We have to hear more.
It scorched the roof of my mouth. The skin fell off. And then that little flapper thing in your throat, that started swelling up to a point where it was getting very close to blocking my air passage. I couldn't breathe. And it got worse and worse and worse. So I said, I've got to get into work, but my gosh, my throat is so sore. I can't even open my mouth. I can't talk. I called producer Tom the next morning. I said, Tom, I got a problem. I think I said, Tom, I got a problem. He came by, took me to the hospital. Tom's born in L.A., so he knows all these places. And they kept me there for about 4 hours. And he said, you have second-degree burns, and had it gotten any worse, you would have had some real severe problems. And had you swallowed that stuff, we would have had to go down your esophagus and do all kinds of stuff to you. It was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. It's a good thing he didn't swallow. The flapper thing. So this is the story. The flapper thing gets scorched with the pizza stuff. Mm-hmm. And he has to call Tom. Tom knows these places. Tom is connected. That's his producer, Tom, he's talking about. This guy is connected in Lipstick City. He knows hospitals. He can get you a bail bondsman, animal control. He knows all the spots.
He probably knows where the freeway is.
Oh, man. I can't believe that.
You know what I have to say to his whole ordeal? Like it sounds so painful, but just, super.
the skin fell off. Okay, so when you're dealing with a situation like that, you need to go to the hospital. If you're fucking.
That's a good point, Drea. What do you think is a worse injury? That guy with his arm dangling off, breaking it weightlifting, or scorching your flapper thing with pizza stuff?
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, esophageal injuries can be pretty bad, but the other guy, if you can hear the muscle tearing, like green branches, I think he described it, that sounds a little bit more traumatic to recover from. You can't move your body.
Yeah. Burns heal faster than torn ligaments.
Muscles
and broken bones and that kind of stuff.
Super. This pizza roll took him out. This is not rating high in the toughness department, but this is not his fault though, because these types of injuries are more common than you might think.
But I'm going to tell you something. There is a warning to you. They had a little warning on the back of the box that said this stuff gets hot. And I have since been told by a lot of people that this has happened to them. Little kids, everybody. When you touch it, you think it's okay to eat. It's cool. But you pop that thing in your mouth and you bite into it, look out. And I've got to tell you, I have been walking around the network today with a flashlight showing anyone who is interested the inside of my mouth, and they just can't believe it. I can't believe I'm still talking, but that's where it is right now. That's what happened to me. That's where I've been for 2 days. Not dramatic. I wish I had been abducted by ETs, or that I was on a Bigfoot hunt or something like that. Or that I broke up a barroom fight and I was a hero. But it wasn't that way. I bit into a pizza roll and it knocked me out for 2 days. Back in a moment on Coast to Coast.
Do you guys feel bad for him in this pizza mouth situation at all?
I mean, yes, I will always feel empathy for that kind of thing, you know, especially when you're hungry and you're just trying to eat and then you wind up injured. I do feel bad for him.
It just sounds like such a story an alien would tell that you didn't experience this kind of thing. Like, has he never microwaved a burrito before? Remember, it said on the box, this stuff gets hot. It's definitely said.
He probably read that after like an idiot, but I mean, I've got a freaking super powered microwave. It's like, I don't know, maybe a couple 100 watts stronger than most of the ones that have the instructions on the box. So I've learned to like under microwave things and check them because I'm afraid of getting burns, but he was just too hungry.
He's not thinking about stuff like that. His mind is not on his microwave wattage.
He does make it sound like he had to go to some like relief group afterwards with other people who were burned by pizza rolls because he was like,
this has happened to other people.
There's old folks. There's tons of people out there who've experienced this. So
yeah, it's more common than you think, these injuries. And I played that story for a reason. One, it is probably the greatest moment in George Noory's decades of broadcasting. And two, it sets up this next clip where George tries to relate to a very, very serious issue with his pizza roll story.
Uh-oh.
You know, I do, however, want to get your take on suicide based on incredible pain. You know, what Kevorkian would do for people, but for example.
Yes, I know. I don't have a solid answer for you from these accounts.
I mean, I'm going to tell you a bizarre story. Right after Thanksgiving, I burned my throat in my mouth. Stupid way to do it, but I did. And it was difficult breathing and swallowing that night.
Gosh.
I actually thought, you know what, I'm going to die this way. What a way to go. And though I've never contemplated suicide, I can understand how people who are pushed to the limit in terms of that kind of stress or pain could simply say, it's not worth it to me. I don't look at that as a depressed person, but if you're really in excruciating pain, you know what?
10 pain on a scale of 1 to 10, level 10 pain.
Yeah, level 10 pain.
Yeah. Chronic pain leading to suicide is just like you burning your mouth and that flapper thing and having to take 2 days off of work. Okay, sure, I guess so.
Right? And he's like, it hurt so much that night. He didn't even say it was like the next night ever. And, well, I've never contemplated suicide, but I can understand people contemplating suicide. Like,
yeah. I almost called Dr. Kevorkian after I called Tom. If Tom wouldn't answer right away, Kevorkian was definitely next on the list. It was over.
He sounds so tone deaf trying to relate his Totino's pizza roll injury to Kevorkian killing people with terminal illnesses. It's completely different. You can't
terminal
make that,
pizza rolls.
You can't make that comparison.
Watch out, these things get terminal. He's going to make put an update on that.
He really did. He really did.
Play soundboard 8. I don't know why I would use this, but I clipped it.
You know what? I'm going to die this way. What a way to go.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a pretty stupid way to go, but yeah, can you imagine somebody just like trying to ask you to mercy kill them because they just have like pizza rolls around them? Like, you don't understand. Like, okay, fine, I'll help.
It had to be like 2:00 in the morning. Also, it was, he got off work. He, did the pizza roll, put him in the oven. It takes a little while.
No, he probably did the microwave, and then for irony, the doctor assisted suicide will stick his head in the oven and be like, "This is the way you should have put him in the first place. You can monitor him better. They cook evenly."
Yeah, honestly, if he would have just done the oven, he would have been fine.
He would have been fine, but he didn't have time for that. This pizza roll incident. This isn't the only embarrassing moment of George's life that he decided to share over the radio. Let's hear about another one.
Hey, I got to tell you about my trip to Austin, Texas for the KLBJ Talk Fest. We went to KLBJ, Tommy and I. We set up, did the show Friday, and then we had the Talk Fest, of course, on Saturday morning. But after the program ended on Friday night into Saturday morning, we went outside and we were going to get into the car and off to the hotel room we were going. And there was a puddle of water there, which I thought might have been about an inch deep. That's the way it looked. And I got to tell you, when I go between Los Angeles and St. Louis, I don't bring a lot of clothes because I've got it in both cities. So I brought just enough for the Talk Fest, and I wore the outfit I was wearing that night, and I was just going to polish up the next day. So I step into this little puddle, which turned out to be not so little. It might have been 8 feet deep. I kid you not. Down I went. Tumbled over. I mean, not just my leg went into this puddle. I tumbled over and fell. And I looked like Swamp Man.
Yeah, Swamp Man. You know, that super popular cryptid. I think he's talking about maybe Swamp Thing. So an 8-foot deep puddle took out George Noory. I don't think you can. What is this, a manhole he fell down? This sounds like a puddle.
It sounded like a lake that was just a really small circumference. And he has a little bit of a tendency to exaggerate, I guess. He fell all the way over. Like, if he's talking about it being a puddle, like how wide was it?
Looks like it's a 1-inch puddle. He tumbles over into it. He messes up his super cool leather jacket that he was wearing to be the cool guy at this. And he just said doesn't have a lot of clothes with him. Man, this embarrassment, falling in a puddle. This embarrassment, this would lead to further embarrassment later in his hotel room.
And I looked like Swamp Man. My leather jacket was full of grass clippings and mud. My slacks were muddy. My shoes were soaked. I mean, absolutely soaked. So I told Tom, I said, Tom, I'm in trouble. I can't go to the Talk Fest like this. He said, don't worry about it. I'll get up early. And another Tom at KLBJ, drove him, and he went to pick up an outfit for me. Now, that's what a producer's for, a great producer. And so we went in, did the Talk Fest. However, while I was in the hotel room waiting for Tom to knock on the door and leave the package by the end of the door so I could reach my hand in and grab it and pull it in, I'm in the room stark naked. And my window's open, but it's daytime, right? People really can't. And I'm overlooking the city of Austin, Texas. And what happens? But 2 window washers hoist themselves down right in front of my window. I couldn't believe it.
I don't know. Do you believe this? Sounds so made up. Window washers seeing you naked. That's just that's a movie trope.
Right. Yeah. I've never seen window washers doing that like in the middle of the day because it's like, I mean, I'm sure they do. I just have never seen it in any hotel
weird.
ever.
It was in Austin, though, so they're keeping it weird. They still have window washers interrupting people. I wonder if we can get the window washer on the show, Rob. You're a good producer, too, man. Maybe you could get us a sketch for us.
His life is like a Farrelly Brothers film. Like, it literally is like a Dumb and Dumber situation happening here, where it's just like one thing after another with this guy.
You know what it sounded like, too, when he said, I can't do this. I can't go to the Talk Fest to look like this. And Tom said, don't worry about it. The other guy will get up early in the morning. He'll go instead of you, and you could just don't show up because you look like shit. So I thought that's the angle I thought he was taking, and that would have been a better story.
He jumped in. They're jumping in to save him. But I now have the image of him just in his hotel room, like
Standing
looking
at
out the window with the window open,
naked.
Why are you doing that?
Like this, like invigorated, like voyeuristic George Noory with his hands on his hips, standing at the window.
It's like Batman.
It's like Batman looking over Gotham,
surveying the city.
Surveying the city. What are you doing? Just sit on your bed and watch TV like a normal person. Like wrap
clothes
yourself
are on the way.
Put a towel on.
I got robes.
Yeah, a robe or a towel or something, George. What are you doing, man?
Get in bed. Like, what's wrong with you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
There is actual footage of this incident, the falling in the puddle, not the window incident. There are security cameras outside of this place, and it caught this moment of Noory plunging into an 8-foot deep puddle.
Oh, it caught that moment. Okay, all right, thankfully.
Not the window.
Thank God.
And here is George proudly telling a caller how to find this embarrassing video.
Beth in Austin, Texas. Let's get you in here, Beth. Go ahead.
Hi, George. It's great to meet you.
You too. How are you?
I'm good. I met you in Austin
at Talkfest. Yeah. That's when I fell into a puddle. By the way, remember that?
Oh no!
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Just say Noory falls in puddle.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, those are not our sound effects. I had to get this from a video, but
nah, we're not that cheesy.
This woman, she just called. She's like, hey, I saw you in Austin. I thought you were great. He's like, yeah. Did you know I did something really stupid while I was there? You can actually watch me fall. And it's a pretty terrible video. You can't really tell what's going on. It's like the Zapruder of George Noory. Like, you don't know what's going on.
I was going to say, yeah, Rob, I still want to see
needs to see it. Because in my mind, I just imagine him like Mario jumping into it.
You heard what he said. He said, Noory falls in puddle. You get to see that video.
Okay. Or I'm going to look it up when we get time recording.
Can we do it right now?
Okay, just watch it. It's super quick.
Yeah, we'll both just watch it right now. All right, here we go. We're gonna watch the clip. 1, 2, 3. All right, it's frame by frame, kind of. You just see.
Oh wow, yeah, this happens so fast.
You just see like a commotion. You see George walk.
You don't see the actual thing happen.
You see
it's all dark.
You see a man who we only can assume is George walk into the frame and then like staggering. Like you just see like staggering, falling, like just total.
And it's like
people run to him.
It's kind of like when Oswald got shot. Like that video. Like there's like a guy peeks out of the door and there's other people walking around. It's like it's a weird video, and it's almost like you see in a blurry Bigfoot fall into like a 1-inch. You don't know what's going on.
People rush to him. Seems like they're trying to help him. It does look like
It looks a lot more serious than it is.
Yeah, it's hard to. It's very hard to tell in that.
He is Leslie Nielsen, as you mentioned earlier. That this is like a Farrelly Brothers movie. He is like the Naked Gun. This is his life. He's just constantly in some kind of calamity. He's like Neudberg, as Rob likes to call him, OJ. So, Rob, I have a question for you.
Oh.
You are a fan of Giants, are you not?
Like the football team?
Well, I'm sure you love them. You're in New York, but you have suggested before that we do an episode on
Giants. You mean
Giants.
like Nephilim Giants? You mean like big boys? Yeah,
those.
Yeah, I'm very interested in them. I love the idea of just big skeletons. Just
Rob's interested in big boys.
All right. Well, that's why I put this in there. I know you love your Giants, and one of the most respected names in the world of giant research is a man named Steve Quayle, who was talking to George about giants and how they reproduce with human females. And George's reaction is great.
Oh,
no. The reason it's had red hair, this is important. The giants worldwide seem to have red hair. And I want to make a clarification, George, because I'm getting some emails. It's not the giants that had sex with earth women producing giants. It was the fallen angels who could, if you will, shapeshift.
The giants were the offspring, right?
The giants were the offspring. So people are saying, well, they'd split the women open. Well, that's what happened when many of the women gave birth to the giants. They died in childbirth. And the thing that's important is it's the fallen angels who can change their size. And I'm not just talking about the reproductive size. I'm talking about their literal physical size because they seduced the women. And obviously most women aren't going to run up to a giant that's going to split them open if they have
All right, Steve, let's pass on that stuff.
You got it. Okay.
Let's pass on that stuff.
Too graphic for us.
Oh,
yeah. Joe in Monterey, California. Go ahead, Joe.
God, Joe, save us. This is a family show, for Christ's sake. George says pain. Forever, listen to that. This guy went in and he's like, oh, yeah, these women are splitting open.
That is insane. That is absolutely insane. I love George got offended. I mean, at some point you have to, right? You can't just keep saying splitting women open.
No, you cannot say that at all over overnight radio. I mean,
you can say it once because it's like, well, they are talking about giants here, but then he kept on going back to it.
Curse, I just said these women are getting split open by these freaking giant dongs.
He's like, no, I'm not implying that. I'm implying that they can change their size. These are angels that are coming down and fucking these women, and they can change the size of their penis so that it doesn't split them open. Basically is what I'm trying to explain to you, George.
So so he was trying to say that there's a giant with like a normal size like thing. George,
I would like to think he changed it proportionally. I would hope
it was an angel,
made it bigger,
but it changed it to
just a little bit bigger than average. Sure.
Yeah, George was not getting into that, dude. You cannot do that on Coast to Coast. Be like, start speculating on giant dongs and like what might be happening to women.
Dude, they would be splitting women open left and right.
Okay, all right, hold on, slow it down. That's
so we
enough.
can talk about Phil Schneider's dick being split in half, but not women.
Completely different.
You can't ask women.
Whoa, yeah, that's just gross. You guys can just go be tough with your having birth in the hospital. All right, we'll keep.
I guess it's a little bit too difficult. It's too tough for you.
So I do love the explanation, though, that angels are doing the fucking. It's not. Yes. It's the giants aren't fucking. The angels are fucking.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't have like a giant angel woman that then goes to normal size and then she'd have to be pregnant and that size for all that time. So it's got to be.
I never thought of angels actually like coming. You know what I mean? I never thought
because they're not supposed to. Like in Dogma, at least, remember, it's like, oh, see, we've got nothing down here.
Yeah, but remember, like Michael, though, John Travolta as Michael, he probably had sex. I think he did have sex.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Highway to Heaven. I think he was an angel too.
No.
He couldn't change his.
Michael.
Man, I bet Steve Quayle is loving this part. He's like, all right, maybe I'll go on this show. These guys want to get down into it.
Sure.
But there you go, Rob. There's your giant segment. Maybe we'll get into it in the future.
Your giant segment.
I don't know if we should get into it now.
I've got a few more things. I found a compilation video on YouTube. It was just titled George Noory Rambling. And it had a lot of fun and random quotes from over the years. Let's hear some George Noory classic quotes according to this guy.
I assume you're not recommending people take their sky cars into clouds, right?
Into clouds?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think that's any problem.
The werewolves of mythology, how much do they compare with the werewolves of what we believe they could be now?
What?
It does seem that so many people are beginning to act brain dead. What about spinning and you're not going anywhere in your dream state?
You mean like spinning around in a circle?
Oh, your legs, you're running and you're not going anywhere.
Oh, those kinds of spinnings. Yes, very common.
Have you seen some of the pictures like the Mars rodent? Clearly looks like a rat. Oh, have we lost you, Richard?
Hoagland just hangs up on that.
Oh, my God.
Clearly it looks like a rat.
Those guest reactions are always so fun. The guy, he's like the sky car in the clouds. And then he's trying to tell a woman, what about those dreams where you're spinning and spinning? She's like, what? He's like, where you're running in place. He's like, is he picturing a cartoon, like legs spinning in circles?
I don't know what he's doing. I think he's was the only person who understands what he's talking about sometimes.
I think he's like a child the way he talks sometimes.
Play Soundboard 9, because this is my new favorite.
Have you seen some of the pictures like the Mars rodent?
Oh my God! You know who he reminds me of now? Brian Fellow. Tracy Morgan's character on SNL, or like his Safari Planet, where he's just like, it's his talk show.
I'm Brian Fellow.
Yeah, he's like, that's a funny looking dog. It's like, well, it's not. It's a parrot. Like,
have you seen some of the pictures like the Mars rodent?
It's exactly
it's like Pizza
like
Rat. It's Mars Rat that he's talking about here. And Richard Hoagland just hangs up on him.
He's so excited. He's so excited.
Do you guys want to hear some more of these?
Mars Rat.
Do you like these? You want to hear a few more like this?
Yeah,
please.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
All right, good. I got one more of these rambling clips.
I'm convinced that the moon is doing something to people's brains. What do you think? Most people, I think, are afraid of dying. Is death like the dream state? You know how you have a dream and you wake up and you go, oh, that was a pretty good dream. Is it that way? And you say no. I thought Madagascar was just a little fun place with a lot of strange animals and just nice and relaxing.
The fourth largest island in the world. Pretty poor island.
Now, it's on the eastern side of Africa, in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's a good-sized island, isn't it?
It is, fourth largest in the world.
Yeah, it really is. Okay. I take it, Robert, you're not a believer in heaven and hell.
Oh, absolutely I am.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm a Christian pastor.
Yeah, that last one. Again, going back to not knowing anything of what your guests sound like. But man, you were right about about he's just like a kid. When he's talking about, I just thought Madagascar was that cartoon. Like I thought it was just one day we were just having fun, just chilling.
Have you ever seen a Chewbacca?
He comes off like the most uninformed person in the world. He knows nothing about anything.
Those are highly cherry picked.
He knows about the moon.
But you know what? Well, he knows about Mars too, because I don't know if you guys have heard, but
have you seen some of the pictures, like the Mars rodent?
The guy rules.
It looks like a rat. Oh my god, did you see it?
Oh, he's like, do you know that toys move around when you're not in the room, just like in Toy Story?
Like it's a lot like a Frakes thing. Maybe we need some kind of Noory edit where he's saying these things over and over. It does remind me, Frakes telling you things.
So excited. So excited.
It's great. And one of the things I was surprised to find out about Mr. Noory is that he not only covers the strange and the paranormal and the tough and all kind of stuff, he also has some strange abilities himself. Did you guys know that George Noory is a remote viewer?
Really?
No.
He is. Last month, he had a guest named Paul Smith who was on there to discuss remote viewing, and George starts the interview by sharing this.
Well, I got to tell you, back in December of 2019, I may have been the first news person to just simply say off the cuff that I thought the COVID-19 virus originated in that Wuhan lab. Mm-hmm. There were two reasons for why I said that. One was common sense. You know, the virus broke out in Wuhan. There was a viral lab there, and I was sure that they were playing around with something. So that was one major reason. Mm-hmm. The other is, Paul, and I didn't tell anybody about this, I remote viewed that lab. And what I saw in my remote viewing was activity of people in hazmat uniforms scurrying all over the place like they were panicked. And I just came up with the thought that it was there. That's where it originated. And by gosh, I think I'm right.
Case closed. Guess George. What? George Noory is sold.
What?
It sounds like you were using your imagination because you knew there was a viral lab there. You had heard there was a viral outbreak there, so you can kind of put the two together in your
I think
brain.
Something's going on in this Wuhan lab. Let me get in the George pod.
Is he joking about remote viewing? Since when did he start doing that?
No,
Since
I have no idea.
When did he unlock this ability?
Shortly after the pizza rolls incident.
Shortly before the pandemic, obviously, because he's remote. He's not telling anybody until later. You can't do that. It
sound like it was a setup for a joke. Like he was going to have some sort of punchline about remote viewing or something.
Rob, do you think that he's that good at jokes?
No, he rode with it. It's the truth. He's remote viewing the Wuhan lab, and he saw people in coats. So that's where
they were running around.
So that's where the virus originated. Okay.
Hazmat suits.
That's some
you know too. He said
work.
The major part of his deduction was common sense
and scurrying. There's a lot of scurrying.
Yeah, there was scurrying.
Getaway.
Yeah, he's all about rodents.
George has taken some flack for his coverage of the pandemic and in not giving sound medical advice, but this is a whole different level. I mean, it's fine to have opinions, but bringing remote viewing into it, I don't know. That lose a lot of confidence with things like that.
We've never really talked about remote viewing, have we? We've like maybe
we did a little bit with Yuri
Geller and all those guys.
Yeah,
we
for some reason Geller didn't
with
sound right.
Amazing Randy kind of, but we weren't looking at it.
Yeah, it is like
we never did a whole topic on it.
It is a pretty like deep topic, and there's a lot to it. I know there are some interesting stories about remote viewing, but I don't really know a ton about it, and I don't think that George Noory does either.
No, you can't just go around claiming that.
He knows how to do it because George has a lot of skills, it seems. He's a popular overnight radio host. He's an author, television host. Remember, he had that Sci-Fi Channel show. He had another show on Gaia, too. He's a singer. We heard that earlier. Remote viewer. A guy like this, he must get a lot of female admirers, wouldn't you say?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here he is talking about the admiration on a show called The McGonagall Chronicles.
You know, I broadcast on 615 terrestrial stations in North America. Millions of listeners every night, yet I broadcast to one person. Not millions, just one. And that one person believes in that relationship. Sometimes it's had its downside. I mean, I've gotten emails from women who hear my bumper music and they think I'm playing it for them.
Yeah.
And they fall in love. And,
What?
you know, I don't want to hurt their feelings, so I just ignore the emails.
Yeah.
But that's the intimacy of radio, where it is so one-on-one, they actually feel that they are connected to you. And in many cases, they are. Sometimes it goes too far. But by and large, radio is extremely intimate.
Yeah, these ladies, they are out there. They're hearing George's lame bumper music. This isn't like the cool Art Bell music. He uses a lot of he's using Engelberg, Humperdinck, and, you know, a bunch of other stuff. And they are falling in love because they're thinking this song is just for them.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think he would like to think that he has that effect. I don't doubt that the emails are real.
He's getting catfished constantly, I'm sure. Like, he definitely, that song you played from Engelberg, Humperdinck, really, set me ablaze.
I mean, yeah, they know that he's making that syndicated radio broadcast money, so they just want to get
remote
a
view
little
me
chunk.
at 3 p.m. tomorrow. I've got a little surprise for you.
It's part of that rock star lifestyle that George lives, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, basically. There's always
rocking the
ladies.
airwaves,
There's always going to be groupies with these sort of situations. And George, he's like Mick Jagger. Who knows how many ladies this man has under his belt? That voice.
Noory, you dog.
George isn't answering them. Answer those emails, man.
He said
don't know
sometimes it goes a little too far. He did say that at the end.
Yeah,
I
was curious about
means
that.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we don't get that from here because this mumble mouth host of the McGonagall Chronicle, he presses on with this topic.
First name ever.
And he
Great name ever heard ever. McGonagall
This guy,
Chronicle.
He wants to know more about these obsessed groupie fans.
You touched on this woman. I mean, do you ever worry? I mean, again, Eric, but I mean that things could get out of hand.
I don't worry about that. You do get concerned about stalkers. I've had that happen, where somebody would find out where you live and they visit you, or they take pictures of themselves in front of your house and mail you the picture.
Ew.
We've had speaking engagements where a number of people are there. There was a guest of ours named Rupert Sheldrake who was at an event one day, very controversial guy talking about things, and a fellow who was of Japanese heritage approached him, pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the thigh and missed his femoral artery by inches. He would have bled to death. So we're always aware of things, that there are people out there who are very strange or who have some severe mental issues.
Wow, George needs to be careful because he's going to get stabbed by a Chinese person. They're going to be like, I saw you remote viewing that lab, George. All right, I don't know what you think you saw, but we're about to shut you up for good.
Right? That was such a weird way to describe the details that he was putting out. It was like he gives really specific name on one of them and says, talking about stuff.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I want to know, too. I didn't really look into that. This guy, Rupert Sheldrake, got stabbed. That is intense. I got to know what this guy said. He was like, this is kind of controversial, and this is a guy of Japanese heritage.
What did the ethnicity of the stabber have to do with anything?
It had nothing to
Why
do
did he
with
have to explain
anything.
that it was a Japanese man? Like,
I have no idea.
That's what I mean. He chose the weirdest details to expound on.
A man of Japanese origin. What the fuck does that mean, dude? What are you saying?
All right.
What's the nicest way I can put this? It was one of those Japanese heritage. Okay, is that good?
It was just unnecessary. We didn't need that, George. You can just say that the guy got stabbed. Keep the
at least it missed the femoral artery
moving.
by inches. It could have been 1 inch. It could have been 7 inches he missed by, but it was inches.
Yeah, there's a lot of inches on the body. You're right, especially of Rupert Sheldrake. I have no idea what that guy's up to. And we're getting close to the end. We're approaching the end of our George Noory extravaganza, and I would like to talk about how Coast to Coast episodes end. I don't know if you guys ever listen to the end of Coast to Coast, if you stay up the 4 hours, and particularly the Friday night open lines. Apparently, George Noory, he likes to skip out very early on Friday nights. I don't know if he has to beat the rush for the whole wheat turkeys at the gas station. But a few minutes into the final hour open lines, a pre-recorded segment will play. And sometimes it's a random interview that just cuts off abruptly when the hour's done because it's just placed very strangely.
Yeah, it's so weird.
But 2 Fridays ago, on July 22nd, he played a dramatic pre-recorded reading that was requested by a listener. And so let's hear about that.
Got an email from an individual today who said that their dying grandmother loved this reading. Would you do this for her again? And I said, yeah, if we have time. So here we are, my version of Telltale Heart for you, Betty. Thank you.
The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. True, nervous, very, very dreadfully nervous, I had been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all was the sense of hearing acute. I heard all things in the heaven and the earth. I heard many things in hell. How then am I mad? Hearken and observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story.
No, I believe you. Please don't tell the story.
Hearken.
So do you guys believe that? Do you believe that he got that email that someone's grandmother's dying wish is to hear this guy read you The Telltale Heart? It's like pain level 10 would be having to hear this. Play soundboard 10. You want to hear 20 minutes of this?
I heard many things in hell.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not good. I don't know, man. I wouldn't put it past him to have had this pre-recorded and just really felt the
it's
need
pre-recorded. He's saying he's played it before that if someone is at this dying wish, they have to hear this before they go. Please take the entire last hour of your show and tack this on and play soundboard 11 because this is from a little further on in the story.
You fancy me mad? Madmen know nothing.
Great voice work. Great voice work there. And the next one, play soundboard 12.
Many a night, just at midnight, when all the world slept, it was welled up from my own bosom, deepening.
My own bosom.
Jesus.
That delivery, though. That delivery.
It is ridiculous. It is so weird. But let's hear this next clip, and I think you might appreciate this, Rob. They put some production into this. Some actual productions. You definitely know it's pre-recorded. And George, he really goes for it with the acting.
Oh, God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore. I swung the chair upon which I had been sitting and grated it upon the boards. But the noise arose over all and continually increased. It grew louder, 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 and still the men chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they heard not? Almighty God! No, no, they heard, they suspected, they knew, they were making a mockery of my horror.
Wow. What a production, right? The acting voice, it just turns into George Noory yelling now at the end. Like he was putting on that thing. And play soundboard 13. This might be my favorite of all.
Almighty God. No.
No.
They knew.
No.
They heard.
No conviction. There's no conviction in that voice. He sounds like a vaudevillian robot or something. Like it's so strange. That delivery.
The beginning, he was putting on that affectation a little bit to his voice. By the end, he's like, and I did it, and I'm Almighty God.
Well, and that's what I meant the whole time. Like, I totally have no problem believing that this, that he has this just kind of on deck. It's recorded and he has it, and he needs to play it as often as possible because he thinks it's really, really good.
No, I think it's more that he wants to get out of there on Friday. He'll tack anything on. He'll just be like, oh, someone asked us to play me reading this one. I guess so, if I have to.
I feel like this segment is so alienating to all of his listeners. Like, probably 95% of the people listening to his show are like, I'm turning this off. What the fuck is this?
Like, who would have really requested to hear this? Like, his specific reading of this?
Well, someone's dying grandmother.
Like, I understand that. It's like, of course,
no,
it's her
I don't
dying
think that's real.
Yeah, I
don't either.
But it's got nothing to do with anything that they ever talk about on Coast to Coast. They don't. This isn't like a normal segment of like,
let's read
some classic literature, poetry. Like this is not part of Coast to Coast, as far as I know.
No,
not at all. And just as far as like him singing and everything and having all of that, and I really do think that he created the excuse to play it again rather than just trying to duck out of the studio early, because they can always play. There's so much other stuff they could play for him to like duck out early.
Hey, he might not be tough, but he's got a lot of confidence in his voice, particularly. He'll sing, he'll radio, I'll dramatic read things. He does that, all that stuff.
Well, he does it. It's Coast to Coast is every day, right?
Yeah, every day.
So,
he doesn't host on the weekends and stuff, but this is his Friday night, though. That's why he just ducks out at the end. He's like, all right, I'm done till Monday. Play whatever crap I recorded. I don't know. I'll say someone's great uncle fell under a truck or in an 8-foot hole.
We got to give him a little credit on that, is that he puts in a lot of airtime, and it must be hard to just figure out things to say after a while.
It must be hard if you're George Noory. I mean, Art Bell didn't seem to have much of a problem with it.
Art Bell is a showman, though, you know what I mean? And Art Bell
That's what I mean.
Art Bell is one of the greatest to ever do it just to begin with. So I mean, it's like it's tough for to compare anybody to Art Bell, but with George,
I don't know, man.
In particular, it's just not.
He's at the point where he is just like, sometimes he's barely listening, as we've heard. He's barely paying attention to what the guests are saying. He's just
skipping
like,
out early. There are a lot of people out there that would love to have this job that would not skip out early.
He's 71 though. He is 71
Russ is like,
years
by
old.
the way,
So.
Russ is sending his resume.
I mean, come on. I'm not going to zone out. I'll pay attention. I'll read your book. And let's play the final clip now. This is the conclusion. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't read Telltale Heart. But here's the end.
Tear up the planks. Here. It is the beating of his hideous heart.
What a classic. What a classic indeed. Be safe, everyone.
Thank you, George. Yeah, that's just and then Coast to Coast out. That's it. And that's it for tonight. I'm tapping out now. Drea, do you have any final thoughts on George Noory and the current state of Coast to Coast? You ready to get back in?
No, I'm pretty sure that he's like, his words and stumbling around has like melted my brain, and I just feel like I can't think as much. Like the moon's done something to my brain.
Yeah, it is doing something. I've heard about that. And what say you, Rob? Did that Telltale Heart, did that rope you back into wanting to be a Coast subscriber?
Yeah, it was super. I thought that the whole thing with George is, he is an acquired taste, and I think some people love to hate George Noory at this point. And he's a real easy target. Sometimes he makes himself an easy target, and I still respect George Noory for as terrible as he is sometimes, as we've heard tonight. I still do love George. He has a special place for, in my heart. And I hope that we get another couple years of George on Coast to Coast, at least. I hope he sticks around for a little while.
He's still my friend. I need to call back in again.
Yes, I want to hear you call again.
I still like George. I still have my subscription because it makes it easy to get the clips like we heard tonight. And Rob, let not your heart be troubled. There will be more clips to come because George Noory recently signed a new contract with Premier Radio Networks to remain the host of Coast to Coast AM until at least 2028.
Whoa.
So that's something to either to look forward to or to dread. We'll find out.
Damn.
And be sure and answer this week's poll. I was thinking, should the poll be, is George Noory a good host for Coast to Coast AM? Or what do you guys think?
That's a pretty good one. I guess it should be, do you think George Noory is tough?
Yeah, I like that one too. How tough is George Noory? And
how tough is George Noory?
We'll give you a few different degrees on that. So yeah, go to unbelieverspodcast.com to vote for that. And great job. It's another success. Thanks.
Sounds like Cookie Monster.
George. Horse had to play a little more, singing Elvis, his favorite.
I want to play it to the bridge so bad. I love the bridge when he comes in.
All right, let it play. Get to the bridge then if you want.
If I can help falling in love.
Good, Rob. Yeah, this is where he brings it home. This part is unbelievable.
Come on, George.
so it goes. Some things are meant to be.
Woof. He's starting to warm my telltale heart. All right. Thanks, George.
That was beautiful. That is my favorite George Noory song, I think.
It was something.
That's the man. I hope everyone liked our little update on the state of Coast to Coast AM. George Noory's Coast to Coast AM. I know that there are other hosts that we don't talk about very much, but Georgie's still the main guy. And there's a lot of weirdness going on. There was a lot of stuff I wanted to get to. There will be more George Noory style episodes if people dig this.
He's kind of like us in a way, in a weird way.
Rob.
You know what I mean? Like he took over. He filled some big shoes with Art Bell, and we had the Unbelievable podcast before us. So I mean,
that's true. Okay.
Say what you will.
Can we at least be the George Knapp? I mean, people seem to like him.
But Russ knows how to lead an interview. He doesn't just stumble and be like, "So, you have a book. Do you believe the stuff that you wrote in the book?"
Well, I'm not saying that content-wise there's any sort of relation here, or even performance-wise at all.
We're not injuring ourselves
in concept.
We're not comically injuring ourselves in any way. And if we are, we're not sharing them on the show. It's not happening.
Yeah, I don't put it on the podcast.
Oh, all right. Well, that's enough of him for now. I'm exhausted with him. But let's go on to something fun now. Let's hit the Unbelievers voicemail bag.
The Unbelievers mail bag.
Ooh, right in the mailbag.
Hey, man, check your mailbox.
Hey, you got some new mail over here.
Mailbag. The mailbag is cool. Mailbag.
Sup, bitches? It's mail time.
Yeah, that's a quick Unbelievers. Fumbelievers. Fucking George Noory's rubbing off on me. I don't know.
But that's the best word to use for that.
As unbeliever. I was like,
what's what we do? We fumble.
Yeah.
This is what I get for trying to call out people for having mumble mouth earlier and talking all this shit and pulling all these clips. I knew it would happen, so whatever. Keep it in.
You want to take that from the thing again? Or
No, keep it in there, man. We're just doing it live. I want to hear. We got a pretty light voicemail this week. But I want to hear it. Let's hear.
Okay.
Hey guys, this is the Wombat Preservationist.
And the Mrs. Wombat Preservationist.
She's back.
And in about 5 minutes, it is going to be the Mrs. Wombat Preservationist's birthday.
Woohoo!
All right.
And we just watched Jurassic Park.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Definitely a fantastic classic movie at this point, unfortunately. I'm old. Got some
lots of really good
I think they're ready to watch this movie for sure.
Really holds up. The effects really hold up. Lots of really thought-provoking questions, like, just because you can, should you?
You got Jeff Goldblum, got Sam Neill, Lord Dern.
Dinosaurs, sure, kids.
Put their hands in poop at one point, which is pretty
She
sweet.
loves it.
So for once, I am going to hand out the rods for this evening.
Oh, all right. Happy birthday.
We are going to give this movie, I am going to give this movie all the rods for Jeff Goldblum. Especially Jeff Goldblum with his buttons unbuttoned. Not a lot of men can pull that off, let me tell you. Mr. Wombat Preservationist tries all the time.
I really do. I really do.
Great movie. Check it out. Have a great evening.
So all the rods,
okay, thank you, Mrs.
5
Wombat.
Jurassic Park logos, because they're all over the goddamn place. And there's somebody who has a Jurassic Park Jeep in my town.
There is.
Which is pretty dope. All right.
Have a great night. Bye.
Deuces.
Does he live at Universal Studios?
Yep.
Oh,
Deuces.
Like
he
you
said,
said,
yeah,
yep,
he answered that.
So
Yep.
that works out.
Nice.
You know what's weird? I knew someone in my town who had a Jurassic Park Jeep. So I think that's like a thing. I think
Why is that
it's not a thing for me. I've never seen one in my town, and I used to live in LA. Didn't see them there.
It's like
Is that hard to pull
Universal.
off, you think? I mean, just getting a wrap, right?
It's vehicular cosplay.
Sure.
Yeah,
Technically.
that's a great phrase. That's good.
That sounds great.
I will say though, I have been thinking a lot about Jurassic Park lately, and that voicemail has now just inspired me. I'm just going to watch it this weekend.
Yeah, go check out that first one. Jeff Goldblum laying on that flatbed like a wombat with his shirt unbuttoned or taken off.
She has got the hots for Jeff Goldblum. She is ready to go for Jeff.
Nah,
I mean,
she's got the rods for him.
She's got rods. Her rod is hard for Jeff Goldblum. And I understand because he's a good looking guy. I think ladies, they love that aloofness about Jeff Goldblum. He doesn't seem like, he seems like he knows what's going on, but also doesn't know what's going on. And
I thought he actually talked a lot. He was just very like engaging and just like, he's like a smooth talker, especially in that movie.
He's very with it in that movie. I feel like everything that he says is very cohesive and makes a lot of sense in that movie particularly. But I feel like as he's gotten older, he's just turned into like this, he's like the Riddler kind of now. He just like, he says these weird things and people just eat it up nowadays. But I mean,
he's got that show
looks good
on Disney
doing
Plus
it,
and everything.
Will Shatner, weird.
I love The Fly. That's a great movie too. That'd be a fun one to watch.
That's a good comparison. Will Shatner and Goldblum, those two in a movie together would be
They put their pauses together.
Oh my God.
I don't think you can get put those two in the same room. Yeah, that could be a show itself.
That would be insane.
But thank you and happy birthday, Mrs. Wombat Preservationist.
Yes.
And give us a call for 469-420-0014. That's it. Unbelievers voice mailbag out.
The Unbelievers mailbag.
Ooh, right in the mailbag.
Hey, man, check your mailbox.
Hey, you got some new mail over here.
Mailbag. The mailbag is cool. Mailbag.
Sup, bitches? It's mail time.
I can't wait for next week to hear how tough people think George Noory is. It's going to be a fun poll.
One answer should be like beef jerky.
I want to see some good ones. But we got to see what we got from last week. It is time for everyone's third favorite segment, poll results. This week's poll, which curse is worse? And the choices were Ötzi the Ice Mummy, the Crying Boy Painting, Gloomy Sunday, or Robert the Doll. I'm going to ask you, Drea Mora, what do you think the Unbelievers said?
Oh, fuck, dude. I forgot that Robert the Doll was in this. But just based off of last episode, I'm going to go with Ötzi.
All right. How about you, Rob?
I want to go with Robert the Doll because, Rob Army represent. But I got to go with Ötzi because I'm kind of scared of that mummy.
Well, congratulations, both of you, with 10.53% of the vote. Okay. Ötzi the Ice Mummy is the worst curse. Crying Boy came in second. But, of course, there are others. Which curse is worst? It starts with a C. Signed, Mothman Father. Whichever it is, it starts with a C. Okay, thank you, Mothman Father.
Speaking of riddles, okay.
Thank you. Exactly. Which curse is worse? I'm the worst. All those other ones suck. Something. Signed, my name is Jeff.
Nice. Okay, I wouldn't think of Jeff as a curse.
Something.
I don't know, yeah.
I guess technically Jeff is in a way a curse. I guess I should probably play the Jeff clip, so.
Yeah, thank you to...
My name is Jeff.
Thank you. Welcome back. My name is Jeff. Which curse is worse? The real curse is poor Bigfoot having to lug around that hulking, juicy Bigfoot dick all day, just like the folklore. Signed, Rococo style. Hey, Rob, you wanted the sexy stuff back? The poll results with you.
Okay, here we go.
Just like they described in the folklore.
Yes, that big hulking thing. Thank you so much to...
the Rococo style that embellished the building.
Thank you, Rococo style, with the new official one in there. Which curse is worse? The curse of the flaccid rod. Signed, Unbeliever Darcy, a.k.a. Spaghetti Von Dashkov. Thank you, a.k.a. Spaghetti Von Dashkov.
I agree.
All right, Darcy, you get this.
So you don't have any videos of people swallowing rods?
No, not yet.
No, because it's the curse of the flaccid rod here. Which curse is worse? Hey, hold it. You just hold it right there. The worst curse is obviously calling the wrong line. You violate the code of honor when you do that. Signed, Lid Vicious.
Hey, hold it. You just hold it right there.
Yeah, for the people calling the Big Island line or whatever.
Calling the wrong line. Okay.
The code of honor when you do that.
Thank you, Lid Vicious. Which curse is worse? Having an 8mm penis, a.k.a. a cocktail weenie, that goes in your big boy pants. Signed. Signed Strasbourg Mini Sausage III Esquire. Strasbourg Mini Sausage III Esquire returning.
Bring your big boy pants and your credit card.
With your cocktail weenie, according to Strasbourg Mini Sausage III. Thank you. Which curse is worse? What about letting me out? Look him up. Signed, Harley Warren. Well, Harley Warren, we of course talked about letting me out.
Look up our own show.
Yeah, he's not a curse though. He's just creepy and like.
He was a cursed
Was he
object,
cursed?
wasn't he? He was like
he was found under some house. I remember that.
he was a doll. He was in our dolls episode.
Yeah, he
right?
was just
Haunted dolls?
creepy as fuck. Yeah.
He is a creepy haunted. Yes, and he's
that's
Australian.
What it was. Ew.
Had a brain.
He's also Australian.
And also Australian, which is the
Creepy
worst
Australian.
of all. It's the creepiest.
Thank you, Harley Warren. Which curse is worse? The real curse is my old dad and its violent temper. Signed, scared of my dad guy.
Man, that just
scared
is
of my
too
dad
real.
guy. Sorry.
That's just more sad.
Well, I mean,
you
know, we could give him a clip.
I wish Bigfoot were my dad.
Because then
There
he
you
would have
go.
to deal with all this every week.
We don't know.
There you
that.
go. Thank you, scared of my dad guy. Which curse is worse? There was this poll, and I was supposed to ejaculate into the poll, and the results were remarkable. Signed, Green Finhawk, bringing it back to poll results.
We went to this room. There was this bowl on this table, and I was supposed to ejaculate into the bowl.
Really jamming on that organ. I try to tune out what he's saying now, because he thought, some of the results here are...
Yeah, that's remarkable. Again, EVP.
Thank you, Green Finhawk. Throwing a random Zach Baggins one in there. I think that's that, right?
Dave Schrader, I don't know.
Oh, Schrader.
Somebody
One of those.
Remarkable.
One of them said.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
That's remarkable.
Which curse is worse? The worst is the curse of answering poll results too late. It's hard enough to win. Signed, Hose B. Herbert. Oh, he just threw a Herbert at the end there.
That's
all
a
right.
long-
He's like, hey, I had something to say.
Shoehorned
I didn't
it
have
in
a
there,
clip.
but okay.
But I'll shoe this
Herbert.
in. Thank you, Hose B. Maybe that's a new strategy, putting the soundboard clip after your name. Thank you, Hose B. Which curse is worse? The curse where I have to sit there and listen to your long-ass, lame, boring stories. So please, shorten it. Signed, Unbeliever Carol.
Whoa. Carol. Shots fired.
No, she's just making that great
I was like,
reference
ooh.
when Art Bell said...
Well, it's a long story. I had an
Larry
interest.
King.
My uncle. Shorten it.
Yeah.
Shorten it.
That's a Larry King reference. Thank you, Unbeliever Carol. Which curse is worse? When you think you're about to toot, but end up filling your pants instead. Signed. Who do you think signed that one?
Pants filler.
Thank you, Pants Filler. Of course.
Just defeat in Drea's voice. Pants filler.
Oh, she
Because
loves
I was
Pants
trying
Filler.
to rack my brain. Like, I'm pretty sure that it's
Who
only
could
going to be
that
pants
be?
filler.
Let's hear it.
You didn't toot, did you? No. Did you smell it?
But he ends up just being the guy who every week is.
Be throwing up and filling my pants.
Pants Filler's in the lead. Which curse is worse? Jesus loves me, la la la. Signed, Breakdance the curse. Breakdance the curse.
I missed that. No, I missed that sign off.
Jesus loves me, la la la. Jesus loves me, la la la.
Good one. Breakdance the curse. Thank you so much.
I guess we got to give him our classic clip now, right?
Well.
Oh, yeah.
Break the curse! Break the curse!
Breakdance the curse.
Yeah.
We breakdance. Thank you, Breakdance the curse. Which curse is worse? The artist who took advantage of the crying boy is a member of the Church of Satan, a card-carrying member of the Church of Satan. Signed, Blue Box UFO. That was pretty good. That one got me. I don't think that's just in the
Good
intro,
reference.
right?
That is just in the intro, I think.
Well, or people can scroll back to the very beginning. You hear that. You can hear, wow. And then we had George Noory with the 500 Degrees from the intro, too. I don't know, we have to break that thing up.
True.
Thank you so much, Blue Box UFO. And the final one for this evening. Which curse is worse? Oi! That crying boy is a trouble starter. Pumpkin instigator. He's a fire starter. Twisted fire starter. Signed, Keith Flint's ghost. Thank you, Keith Flint's ghost.
Wow. Pretty good.
Yes,
Okay, yeah, getting.
he thinks
Pretty
that
good.
crying boy is a trouble starter, pumpkin instigator. He's a fire starter, twisted fire starter.
Those are the
Do
lyrics.
we have a
Those-
fire
those are-
starter?
of course.
Yeah,
Those are the
which
lyrics.
Thank you so
Drea
much.
hates that song for some reason.
I
Why do
really
you hate
do.
that song, Drea?
Because it's, like, not good.
Oh, wow.
Mostly.
Okay. Bluntly said, but I get your opinion now. I understand.
it's fine for poll results, so it stands up. It stands out. We love it. And yeah, we had so many great ones tonight. Got to pick a winner, though. And so here, let's go over them real quick. We had For Which Curse is Worse? It Starts with a C, Mothman Mother. We had My Name is Jeff with I'm the Worst. All those other ones suck. Something. We had Rococo Style with The Real Curse is Poor Bigfoot having to lug around that hulking, juicy Bigfoot dick all day, just like the folklore.
The curse of Bigfoot's dick.
We had Unbeliever Darcy, a.k.a. Spaghetti Von de Kashkov, with The Curse of the Flaccid Rod. We had Lid Vicious with, hey, hold it. You just hold it right there. The worst curse is obviously calling the wrong line. You violate the code of honor when you do that. We had Strasbourg Mini Sausage III Esquire with having an 8mm penis, a.k.a. cocktail weenie that goes in your big boy pants. We had Harley Warren with, hey, what
Bigfoot's problem?
What about letting me out? Look him up. Thank you, Harley Warren. We had Scared of My Dad Guy with The Real Curse is My Old Dad and His Violent Temper. We had Voodoo with Marriage. Oh, I missed that earlier. Sorry, Voodoo. Yeah, Voodoo chimed in with Marriage is the worst curse.
Yikes.
All right.
Wow.
I didn't skip you, Voodoo. Not on purpose.
Keeping it so real.
I'm sorry, Voodoo buddy. We have to put that in earlier or something. We had Green Finhawk with There Was This Pole, and I was supposed to ejaculate into the pole, and the results were remarkable. We had Hose B with Herbert. The worst is the curse of answering poll results too late. It's hard enough to win. We had Unbeliever Carol with The Curse where I have to sit there and listen to your long-ass boring stories. So please, shorten it. Ouch. We had Pants Filler with When You Think You're About to Toot but End Up Filling Your Pants. We had Breakdance the Curse with Jesus Loves Me, La La La. We had Blue Box UFO with The Artist Who Took Advantage of the Crying Boy is a member of the Church of Satan, a card-carrying member of the Church of Satan. And finally, we had Keith Flint's Ghost with Oi, that crying boy is a trouble starter. Pumpkin Instigator, he's a fire starter, Twisted fire starter. I'm going to ask you, co-host Drea Mora, who do you think won this week's poll?
Oh, man. This one was hard. So I guess the opposite of that would be the Flaccid Rod. That one really, when you think about curses, really.
It's a pretty bad curse.
Erectile dysfunction seems like a pretty bad curse to have.
All right,
so.
you're going with
Darcy,
Unbeliever Darcy,
something.
yes, aka Spaghetti Von de Kashkov. Okay, Von Dashkov. Sorry. And how about you, producer Rob Okey? Who do you think won this week's poll?
I didn't know there were so many curses involving penises, but apparently there's several. There's the curse of having Bigfoot's penis. There's the curse of having too little of a penis. There's the curse of having a flaccid penis. There's
also a curse of a giant or an angel, as we heard earlier.
There's also curses of just shitting your pants all the time.
They all just sound like bad excuses for some guy who's got ED. But I would say probably Pants Filler I thought was pretty funny this week. Pants Filler kind of brought it.
All right.
That was my runner-up.
I'm going to agree with you there. Congratulations, this week's winner, Pants Filler with When You Think You're About to Shoot, but you end up filling your pants instead. Congratulations, Pants Filler. You just won this week's poll results. Well, we've come to the end of the program, but before we go, Drea Mora, do you have anything you'd like to say or plug?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to whoever sent me that necessary in the mail.
What?
Yeah, the things that
Steve Felton makes. A Felton necessary?
Yeah, it's so cute, and I love it, and thank you. They said they heard me mention it on an episode, and that blew me away. Wow. I was so
shout out.
Shocked. Thank you.
For those who don't know, that is a little carved Nessie statue by Steve Feltham, the loneliest
Nessie hunter.
The loneliest Nessie hunter. Sorry, he's not a big.
Who's still in the game? He's still out there doing his thing, making necessaries, and just forever on the hunt.
Yeah, now I need one. So somebody,
I want one too. I'm jealous, to be honest.
They're necessary.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. And how about you, Rob? You have anything to say or plug?
I'll just say thank you to everybody who came and checked out our viewing and our watch along of They Live, which was really fun the other night.
Oh, that was so much fun.
On Twitch. We had a good time watching that. So thank you to everybody who came out for that. Thank you to our patrons who, if you couldn't attend it the other night, now you can go on Patreon and check those out because we just posted today. The video link is up. So if you want to rewatch it with us anytime you can, and there's an audio version too. So if you just want to put it on your phone while the movie is on, you can do that as well.
Then mute us whenever.
Yeah, and the Tournament of SOS is, I've got the bracket all set. People can fill out brackets and submit them. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Ready to go.
We're so ready to go with that. And that's it for this week. The Unbelievers podcast hosts today were Drea, Mora, and me, Rus Ryan. Our producer and soundboard engineer is Rob Okey. You can go get our tarot cards at unbelievablepodcards.com. You can join the Patreon by going to patreon.com/unbelieverspodcast. You can follow the show on Twitter at unbelieverspod and Instagram at unbelieverspodcast. Our Facebook group is the Unbelievable Podcast Network. And check out that merch store at TeePublic. There is a link in the description. Get you a shirt or something for Mothman Fest coming up soon. And to all the patrons, thank you so much. Lid Vicious, Linnea Surte, Fabian, Art Muffin, Nick Marshall, Ramiro, Sam Swoball, Creepy Little Book, Johnny Knott, Sandy and Deborah Foles, Chris Stroker, Jeffrey Hartnoff, Luis Payon, 8-Bit Melody, Jenny Dyer, Christopher Balderrama, David Egelhoff, Pam Z, JT Spranklin, Vic Voss, Little BB, Dr. Ortega, Tyler Ventura, Adam Dvorak, Corrupted Mask, Michael Phillips, Carol Valle, Mady, MQ Ultra, CJP, Braden Hit, Raymond Roel, Todd X, Christopher Panici, The Moon, The Judgy Moon. You happy now? You got it. Mike Henry, Bryce Cronenberg Jr., Dawn Bright, Shannon Ferrigno, Tom O'Connell, Donna Bance, Jenna Stevens, Cat Chaos, Jason Kelly, Mike, Brian Ashton, Michael Armenta, Jackass, Wombat Preservationist. Our music advisor is Pandora3373. Our official composer and theme song creator is Unbeliever A.A. Ron, a.k.a. Aaron Schilb. Go follow him on Instagram at the Aaron Schilb. Our official graphic designer and card maker designed our logo is Raymond Roel. Check out his work at P. Raven Creative on Twitter and Project Raven Creative on Instagram. Our official Unbeliever listening between the stations for a message from Art Bell is Scott E. Our official Hazmat Lou is Hazmat Lou. Our official Unbeliever without a title is Nicholas Aristavi. Our official Unbeliever Raising Puck Wudgies is Joe Filler. Our official Big Island Paranormal Friendly Weatherman is Green Finhawk. Our official Resident Sagittarius is Cosanton. Our official Madman is Unbeliever Adam. Our official Mothman Enthusiast is Michael Shields. Our official MUFON Inside Man is Christine Moraes. Our official Unbeliever Peacefully Eating a Hamburger is Michelle Durham. Our official Time Traveler is Taylor Nelson. And our official Ghost Hunter is Amelia Childs and Ghost Hunting in New England. Our official Senior European Correspondent is Kay Mill of the I Don't Know podcast. Our official Guardian of the Bench is at Kraken Stacker. And this week's Unbeliever focus is the Slan, who was really, really excited to hear that we did this deep dive into George Noory. He just can't wait to hear more clips of him. But when I told him the news that George Noory will still be hosting for at least 7 or so years, all he said was,
Almighty God, no.
Good night. Gosh.
Discontinue.